Hey there, Patty Dominguez here, episode 118 of the Positioning to Profit podcast. Super happy you're here. Today is a special guest feature, Chelsea Arns, who is the creator and founder of the Aligned Planner and Journal. She has this beautiful planner that she created, and it really is different than probably anything that you've seen. And so she talks about how she took this inspired action to create something really special that was meeting her needs. And in that process, she's really differentiated herself from the packaging to the journal to the way she put it together. We cover the obstacles and really what inspired her to make it happen. I also really appreciate the fact that she's so savvy connecting with people very strategically to get the word out about the planner. And so I see her as a woman that is driven and ambitious and all the things. And I always admire when people take action, because that is what's going to unfold opportunities for you in ways that you didn't even know existed. So she's making it happen. I love it. We have a nice conversation. And again, you can find that at alignedplanner.co. And if you use code Patty, Patty 15, you get 15% off your order. So that was really nice of her to do that. Thanks, Chelsea. All right. And can you believe it is almost November? As you're rounding the year, what worked, what didn't? I'm going to host a workshop to measure how I did in my business and just kind of sharing the approach I take year end. So stay tuned for that. If you are looking and really considering, well, how do I go to the next level? How do I make a change in my business? I invite you to look at prolificcafe.com, all the details there of the membership that I host, which is so fun, so amazing. And yes, we get shit done too. So prolificcafe.com for all the details as you are considering, what am I going to do to change things up, Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. Maybe it's time for something new. Check out prolificcafe.com. All right. And with that, let's get on with the show. Here we go. Hey there, I'm Patty Dominguez. You're about to discover what it means to position your brand and your business to stand out. This show explores the stories of small business owners just like you who are bringing their message out to the world and impacting their tribe. So if you want to take your business to a category of one status, then hang with me, because this podcast shares everything you need to know about how to be more prolific with your brand so that you can have more profits. All right, Chelsea Arns, welcome to the Positioning to Profit podcast. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks. So, okay, the one thing I always talk about when anybody is a guest on the show, I say, okay, well, tell us a little bit about yourself. But here's the thing with you. You are a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and I've been scoping you out a little bit around, and you and I are both in a group together, which is really awesome. It's this wonderful community of like-minded, lots of entrepreneurs in there and stuff. But I've never really had a chance to talk to you personally. And after scoping you out a little bit, I find you very fascinating. The background that you have is I guess you started, or do you have a tutoring business? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So what was so interesting to me, and what we're going to talk about, is your new baby, which I think is so beautiful, and I'll brag about it in a different perspective, is you have this, and this is going to be on video too, so I'm going to show, this is an Aligned Planner and Journal, and it's something new. Tell me, how did this come to be? What was the ideation that you went through for this?
Oh man, it's quite a long story. I'll try to shorten it for your audience a little bit. But yeah, so I started with my tutoring company. And so, when I was younger, I had a tutor, I became a tutor. It was something I was really passionate about, and it became and evolved into a business. And at the same time, when I started it, I had 3 kids in under 3 years, but I was not going to let that stopped me. I was totally determined to succeed. And so I did succeed. I brought the tutoring business to $1 million a year in revenue. By the time my daughter was she was 4. And that was my first child. But basically I had gone to that level of success with hustle, with grind, with sacrifice, with burnout. And it wasn't ideal for a long term, right? Like that's no way for anyone to live their life. So when I realized that I had checked every box on my bucket list in terms of success, quote unquote success, and I realized that I wasn't any happier than I was, 5 years prior when I had none of these things, I realized that I was missing something. And so I went into a whole bunch of personal development work, a whole bunch of transformational work. And I realized more of who I was. And I realized that, goal setting and manifesting growth in business and up-leveling my career would always be important to me. So the goal setting structure that I use was great. And I wanted to keep that. But what I needed to let go of was the hustle and the grind. And I needed to replace that with being present, being mindful, choosing happiness, celebrating the small wins, having an intention every day, focusing on self-love. And so what the Aligned Planner and Journal does is it gives me and all of its users the best of both worlds. It allows you to focus on your priorities in business and in your family and in your personal life. But it also makes those goals manifest into your reality because the goal setting structure is just so clutch. It just breaks everything from your yearly goals to your quarterly goals to your weekly goals to, what's one thing I can do every day. To who am I being and who am I being to make this happen? It gets you to embody the version of yourself who's already accomplished those goals. So now you're working from that place and not to that place.
Right. And so the thing is, when I got this in the mail, thank you so much for your beautiful gift. I have a background in consumer packaged goods. And so I really love packaging. I know that sounds so random, but for example, if I have an Apple laptop, right? Apple, their design, their product development and design is so well thought out, right? The way that they package things and the snap that you hear when you get the laptop out. Anyway, I worked with a lot of different agencies in this space. And so I'm always looking at that kind of stuff and how the moment that you get a product, you can start to create an experience. And so when I got your box, I was like, oh my God, this box is so beautiful. It's a very well thought out box. And it was beautifully wrapped. It has this gold imprinting and it's really clean, beautiful design. Of course, I looked at the back. And anyway, I just want to acknowledge you because your planner is more premium priced. And so from a positioning to profit standpoint, right? To say that you have a planner is kind of this commoditized way of saying what you do, but your planner is very different. So can you tell people, why did you position it this way, the kind of planner? When you created it, did you have an experience in mind?
Yeah, I wanted a product that when people held it in their hands, they would want to take it everywhere and they would feel so worthy and deserving to have this beautiful planner journal that they would want to commit to themselves. That's what it's all about, right? Because this planner, it's not going to help you it's not going to achieve your goals for you. You're going to achieve your goals. You're going to create your best life. But this is just a tool to help you get there. But the feeling that you get when you unpackage it and when you hold it, you're you just want to commit to yourself, right? Because it's just so luxe and beautiful.
It really is. And I have to tell you, just from the experience standpoint, I'm I wonder if she would if it was, because it's really well thought out. I mean, I really have to commend you for that. And even the binder, because I've had other planners where the binders won't hold the pages tight and they kind of unswirl the little binder. I'm this is so annoying. The pages come out of that, but this is so gorgeous. And you have these ribbons in there and they feel good. I'm this is kind of if it's almost if Moleskine had a planner, this is what it would be is what I thought about. So I just wanted to give you that feedback because it is gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And when I looked at the site, it is positioned as a very different, right? It's a higher end type of planner, and you could really see that in the experience and everything that you have. So is there anything else that you wanted to kind of really make sure that the user had that experience from a differentiation standpoint?
Yeah. So it's not just your regular planner. What it is really, it's a planner and a journal and it's a manifestation tool. Like it's meant, when you use it, it's raising your vibration from the moment you pick it up and you open it and you feel it, to the accountability checks that you're doing in it. Because yes, there's a whole goal setting thing. And then there's also, a place to journal and to write notes. I was the type of person that had multiple books before. I had a high performance planner. I had a gratitude journal. I had notebooks to keep track of everything. And I never knew what I needed was, where it was. Like, it was just always like a mess. And I was carrying around all these different books all the time. And I thought, you know what? I need a 3-in-1. So this is personal development meets goal achievement meets manifestation meets law of attraction. It's kind of all of that in one place.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very well thought out. And then when I got it, and hopefully this isn't a spoiler for too many people, but it had the little thank you card. I was like, this is really beautiful. And here in the back, you can, you have this card that says, 5 things to do when you receive. Commit to yourself that you're using it and you're going to start every week and every day. And then you go into the goals and things like that. So from an adoption standpoint, what are you doing to encourage people to connect with you? Is any of the marketing that you're doing thereafter with that in mind, to like really continue the conversation with people so that they're adopting and utilizing your product?
Well, that's a really great question, because I finally just figured, because this is all new to me, like my first business is in service. So this is my first time in a retail kind of business. And I finally just got my SHIT together and have now
you can say
automated email, right? The onboarding emails. So with that, what I'm doing, and now I've set up, is just have like user-friendly short videos to teach people how to use the different parts of the planner, why they're important, how to make them, most effective to meet your highest potential. So people are going to be getting little clips that'll help them. It'll be like your daily dose of like mindset, but also, hey, here's how you can optimize this in your planner for your personal and professional goals. So I'll be using that.
It's so good. That's so smart. I was thinking, I'm like, this would be so good because your picture on the back, like it's there. And this is the first like kind of personalization that we have with you. And I would 100% ride that way, because you have such a great profile. You're very photogenic. And I'm like, oh my God, you could ride this so well in terms of like having these videos that help to connect with people, help to encourage them to adopt and utilize the planner and show them the potential of what's possible. So I think that's super exciting. And I know that you're thinking about some other products or anything like that. Are you launching anything else that aligns with your Aligned Planner?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do have my Aligned Manifestation membership. So that helps women stay accountable to their goals. We use the planner as the foundation, but then we bring in manifestation tools and principles and a lot of transformational work. So every month there's like a different theme. And then with that, I also do some one-on-one coaching as well. So both of those items.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. So tell me the truth. What was like a big obstacle or friction that you found in this process where you're like, what is this worth doing? Should I be doing this? Because we all go through it, and a lot of people, they focus on the glory, but not the real story. So what were your hurdles that you had to overcome? Okay, we're about halfway through with the show, and I wanted to stop by with a quick share. Have you ever been in a situation where you don't know how to articulate what it is that you do in a way that stands out? I mean, have you ever been in a situation like, I hate when people ask me what I do because I don't know how to say it in a succinct way? Well, have no fear. I'm here to help you with that very thing. Head on over to nicheandpitch.com. However you decide to spell it, it'll be there. nicheandpitch.com for a free intro training to solve for that very issue of standing out uniquely. How do you select your niche or niche, and how do you pitch it in a way that stands out? Head on over to nicheandpitch.com. And with that, let's get on with the remainder of the show.
You know what? That is a really great question, because one thing I had, this was my second business, which was so good because I learned not to stress by this point. My first business where I did all the stressing and hustling. With this one, I was like, the universe is working through me. And I only, as soon as I started to feel frustration or I couldn't, like I had blocks, I would just like stop and I'd go do something else and I just wouldn't worry about it. And that saved me so much energy because even though it, held the process, like even though it held me back, when I came back to it, for example, when I was writing my website, for some reason, I could not figure out what to write about. The words just would not come. So it was probably 2 months where I had that block, but I just let it go. And then 2 months later, the words kind of just flowed through me. So I think, definitely just having those periods where the stuff doesn't come and just trusting and knowing that it'll happen and it'll come in divine timing was a big thing for me. But then to get to the answer to the question, reality wise, I launched this during a pandemic and this is a product. So the shipping was literally to get this product. I'm from Canada and I wanted to do it local. I wanted to get it printed local, but the cost and the material just does not exist locally. And they would have been outsourcing a lot of that stuff from China anyways. So I did get it made overseas and we were about 3 months delayed in terms of when the product actually got to my warehouse. There was a delay of 3 months. So I think that was probably the most frustrating part, was that it just didn't come. But yeah, in the end, it was all right.
And how did you, in that moment where you're like 3 months, and I know you probably had ideas for what you wanted to do to launch or anything like that. How did you get yourself out of that space of like, I'm like, all this sucks right now that I have to wait for 3 months and all the things? How did you work through that?
Well, yeah, because I had pre-sales as well, right? People had already purchased the planner. They were waiting for it to be shipped to them. The quarter had started. So now they were late behind a quarter without a planner. So what I did was I was just like, you know what? Let's just give everybody who's already pre-ordered the digital product for free. So I just gave everyone the digital PDF. I said, you know what? This is just my gift to you. Thank you for your patience. And that was probably the biggest thing. But most people were pretty understanding. And then it was just a matter of like, letting go because it was totally out of my hands.
Yeah. Very, very well done. So what do you envision for the future of the Align Planner and Journal? What do where do you want to be in the next 2-3 years with this?
I think that this planner and journal has a lot of potential. And I would love to see it be like a worldwide global phenomenon where online business coaches are using it for their students. Because it really is so perfect, especially if you're taking a course or if you're in a program. It's perfect for helping you balance your personal life and your professional life, but also there's takeaways there's spots for you to write your takeaways and to do your quote unquote homework from a course or whatever that you're in. So I would love to see it offered from coaches to their clients. And I've already had many coaches utilize it as an onboarding gift to their clients. So I'd love to see it used for that. But I'd also love to see it used and sold in stores like Indigo Canada and Barnes and Noble, McNally Robinson, because I was that person who went to these stores looking for a planner like this, and it simply was just never there. Something that has all these things. So I want to be able to have it, reach as many people as possible who are avid journalers, avid planners, who are looking for a 3-in-1.
That's awesome. And I know that you're very, very good about connecting. I mean, you reached out to me and said, hey, here, I'll send you my planner and this and that. Let's talk. I'd love to be in your I was like, wow, it is so rare. I mean, I talk about this concept. It came from the author Chet Holmes in The Ultimate Sales Machine. It's a book that he wrote before he passed. It was a really famous book. And he talked about this whole concept of the Dream 100. And most people understand it, but they don't do it. And the idea there is writing that dream list of 100 people that would be phenomenal strategic partners. Let's say, Chelsea, that Oprah, right, holds your Align planner and say, this is on my favorite things list, game changer, right? So that Dream 100 list is something that is so powerful. I utilize it too. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not as diligent about it, but you already are doing that innately by just, and perhaps not that I'm on your Dream 100, but you're getting out there and you're creating the strategic partnerships. Like this is just that natural progression for what I see you doing. And the fact that you said, I see this used globally, I think that's really beautiful. And you have a very ambitious, tenacious spirit about you that I have no doubt is going to happen for you. So thank you for sharing that, because it's important that the vision that we have for what we want to develop is held within ourselves. It is whatever you want it to be. And I think that's such a powerful position to work from. So kudos to you for that. It's really cool.
Yeah. And thank you so much. I have two things to say about that, Patty, because so that tip, that Dream 100 list, I heard you talk about that. What was it, a year ago? It must have been just over a year ago. And I wrote my list down. I had 100 places. I was like, hey, I'm going to write this Dream 100 list. And I think on number 4 of that list, this was before the planner was printed and being sold. But on number 4 of that list, I wrote Jim Fortin. I would love to be on his podcast. I was on his podcast 2 days later. After I write this list, his team calls me and it's like, Chelsea, you want to interview for his podcast? And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it totally works. And that's also why I've always been a huge journaler, because every time I write my goals down, like my 5-year goal plan, things just come together. Universe just opens doors and the possibilities, they're endless, but everything just comes together. And all you really have to do is decide what you want and then, decide what you want, write it down and then go for it. Right. So very powerful. It's the same thing. Like on my Dream 100, I had Jim Fortin on there. And this was in 2018. I'm like, this would be so cool if I could be a coach in his team. And he didn't even have coaches then. And then he announced it. And I said, and I wrote down, because I soul journal, right? So that's something that's a practice that I have, soul journaling. And it's just stream of consciousness. And I just journal. And I'm like, I am going to be on his coaching team. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So yes, there is so much power in writing down what it is that you want to manifest. So that is amazing. Okay, so let's transition over to my Fast 5 questions. Okay. All right. What is your idea, Chelsea, of perfect happiness? Oh, my perfect happiness to me is doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it, right? Just as you said this morning, you get to spend your mornings how you want with your husband, nice and, slow with coffee, and you don't take calls till the afternoon. That is happiness, right? It's having that freedom. Yeah,
for sure. Okay. What is your greatest fear?
Ooh, well, that is a great question. In the last couple of years, I've been working through a lot of my fears. My greatest fear, I'm so stumped on this, because I would say rejection, abandonment, all those deep soul fears that people subconsciously have. But I think and now that I know everything happens for a reason and everything's always kind of going to be fine no matter what happens. I mean, I have lots of fears, but then I don't have a huge fear. So I actually don't really know.
Right. That's so good. And so they're little that you can bypass and they're not an issue, right? It sounds like that's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. What is your greatest extravagance?
Oh, my greatest extravagance. I know these are supposed to be quick questions, but what do you mean by that?
For me, an indulgence is I love going to a spa weekend and really going all out and not worrying about what it costs. And so I go with a friend, we go to lunch. So I kind of get these little staycation events where it's maybe 2 overnights and it's literally spying it up. That's luxury to me. I love it.
Lovely. I would say for me, it's a Louis Vuitton purse and driving a luxury car, right? It's just so extravagant. It's just, you go and you do those, you get that purse, you wear it, or you drive that car and you just feel so high vibrational luxury.
I totally agree. Flying first class internationally is such an indulgence. It's awesome. That would be the extravagance. Okay. Which talent would you most like to have that you don't have currently?
I would love to be able to sing really well. I would love that because I love to sing, but I don't sing very well. And things would be different if I could.
That's awesome. Okay. And after all is said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think I just want my legacy to be like, I love to inspire people. That's also part of the reason for creating the planner journal. And I want my legacy just to be proof, living proof that it doesn't matter like who you are, how you grew up, what your experiences or challenges were, but that anyone can be, do, and have anything that they want.
Definitely. I love it. Chelsea, congratulations on the Aligned Planner and Journal. Will you please tell everybody how they can order it?
Yeah. So you can go to alignedplanners.co as well. It is featured on Instagram at Aligned Planner. And actually I've got a discount code for your audience, Patty. It is Patty15, so they can get 15% off.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. So Patty15. We'll also put it in the show notes on the position or on my website, excuse me. So that'll be in there. It'll be on the podcast player so that you can get your 15% off and create your own experience with the Aligned Planner and Journal. It is really beautiful. So, congratulations. I love what you're doing. I love your approach to it. I love the strategic partnerships you're doing. Like, you're really ambitious. I admire that so much in women and fellow women. So I'm excited to see it grow. And thank you for being on the show.
Awesome. Thank you for all of that. Thank you for having me. It was lots of fun.
Likewise. Hey, thanks for checking out the Positioning to Profit podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please do consider leaving us a rating and review over on iTunes. We so appreciate it. And then also, please do connect with me on socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the things. And then lastly, if you haven't already done so, check out Prolific Women Entrepreneurs. If you go to prolificwe.com, it'll redirect you to the Facebook group where we're building a group of like-minded women in entrepreneurship, and you are more than welcome to join us there. Okay, and lastly, I know I said lastly, but now I really mean it. Definitely consider, if you are looking to grow your business and are in it for the long term and are looking for like-minded women who are making it happen, check out prolificcafe.com. All the details on the community will be there. I promise you, it is like nothing you've ever seen. I am so passionate about curating this beautiful group of women who are just making it happen, creating expansion, creating impacts, and you are more than welcome to check it out again at prolificcafe.com. Okay, and with that, we'll see you on the next show.